When I showed up to surprise them with groceries and flowers, my daughter-in-law took one look at me and said, "Take your junk and go. We don't need you here." My son just watched her slam the door, leaving me standing on the porch in the cold eye. Raised mad on my own, his father took off. After our 12th anniversary left me, the note on the counter, and disappeared with some woman from his office in Lincoln. I worked my hands raw waitressing evenings, cleaning offices at night, doing whatever it took to keep Matt fed, clothed, and in a good school and never went without. I made damn sure of that. He was always a sweet boy, smart to we'd watched Jeopardy together after dinner, and he'd beat me half the time by the time he was 13 when he got into the University of Nebraska. I cried for 3 days, not because he was leaving, but because I was proud. I helped him get student loans covered. What I could, and sent him monthly care packages with snacks, razors, socks, little things a mother thinks of. Then senior year, he met her, Brooke. She was pretty and put together in that way that always made me feel self-conscious. Her nails were always done, she wore expensive-looking sweaters, and she had a way of smiling with just her mouth, not her eyes. The first dinner I had with the two of them, she corrected Matt's story about how we used to go hiking. "Oh babe, you don't even like nature," she said, laughing like it was cute. I remember thinking how she dismissed his past like it didn't matter. Still, I tried. I made room for her. I invited them for Thanksgiving, even cooked dishes she liked. She said she was allergic to my stuffing, said the celery maid. Her throat itched, she pushed it to the side with a fake little laugh, but after they got married, things shifted subtly at first. Calls got shorter, texts went unanswered. When I asked about visiting, there was always a reason. I shouldn't. Brooke had a new job, the kids had soccer. The house was a mess. Once Matt said, "It's just not a good time, Mom." And when I asked when would be a good time, he didn't answer. Then came the birthdays. I missed first. It was Liam's 4th. He loved dinosaurs. I'd mailed a talking T-Rex. I knew he'd love. Never got a thank you then. Claire's first dance recital. I saw pictures on Facebook from Brooke's mom. I wasn't even mentioned. I bought Christmas gifts and left them under my tree just in case. They surprised me. They never came. Still, I held on to hope. Told myself maybe they were just busy. Maybe Brooke wasn't trying to cut me out. Maybe it was unintentional. I blamed myself. Maybe it wasn't warm enough. Maybe I said the wrong things. But when I showed up that day just trying to bring a little kindness, and Brooke looked me dead in the eye and said, "Take your junk and go," something in me broke. That's what she called it. Junk, the fruit, the snacks, the carefully picked out bouquet. The lies were even tied with a ribbon I saved from the last package Brooke sent me years ago, back when she still pretended to like me. And she slammed the door in my face. My son stood behind that curtain and didn't open it. Do you know what it feels like to realize your child doesn't care if you're standing outside in the cold, holding groceries, humiliated on the front porch, like a beggar? I sat in the car, not ready to drive. My hands shook. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I'd get sick. And then I saw Brooke peeking out the side window, watching to make sure I left. I left all right, but not for good. Something shifted in me that day. I'm not a weak old woman. I may be quiet, but I've lived a hard life, and I survived every bit of it. I have stories Brooke couldn't stomach, and no, they've made me into something I never wanted to be, someone with nothing left to lose. And that makes me dangerous. After that day on the porch, I didn't hear from them, not a word, not even a call from Matt to ask if I got home safe. That silence told me everything I needed to know, but I didn't let it go for the first couple of weeks. I did what I always do, pretended I was fine. I cleaned the house, went to my part-time cashier job, made small talk with customers, but inside, I was boiling, not just from that one moment, but from all of it. The year Seth being slowly pushed aside, erased. Humiliated, then I started digging. I didn't go snooping for dirt out of pettiness. I needed to understand what hole Brooke had on my son, why he let this happen, why he stood behind a window like a scared little boy while his wife threw me out like trash. I started with her social media. She posted a lot of pictures of the kids, her designer bags, her manure posts. She runs a little online shop selling essential oils and vitamins, claiming she's building generational wealth. She's always tagging her uplines talking about manifesting abundance, but I noticed something odd. She posted pictures from luxury dinners and new spa treatments, but Matt never looked happy in them. He always looked absent, like someone had swapped him with a cardboard cutout. Then, one night, I clicked on one of her tag names and followed the rabbit hole. That's when it got interesting, turns out. Brooke is knee-deep in an MLM scam, something called Vital Essence. They push overpriced supplements with shady health claims. And a pay-to-promote scheme, she wasn't making money. She was spending it maxing out credit cards posting about abundance while sinking deeper in debt. And then I remembered something Matt said over a year ago, when we had one of our last real phone calls. He had joked about needing a second job if Brooke keeps chasing her dream of becoming the next Gwyneth Paltrow. I laughed at the time now. I realized he wasn't joking, so I called my old friend Linda. She used to work in collections and still had contacts. I asked her off the record to find out if the Morgans, Matt and Brooke, had any open debt. Linda called me back 3 days later and said, "Honey, they're drowning. 3 credit cards in default, one of them in Matt's name, but clearly spent on Brooke's little empire bulk orders of products. Event tickets, branded clothes, and the house. They had refinanced it twice in the last 5 years. That new kitchen Brooke bragged about on Facebook, bought with a home equity line." I started piecing it all together. Brooke didn't push me out because she hated me. She pushed me out because she was hiding the mess she created, and Matt, he wasn't brainwashed, was stuck. Trapped in a mess he probably didn't even know how to explain, but that didn't excuse what he did. He let her treat me like garbage. He let his children grow up thinking I didn't care. He could have picked up the phone, he could have stood up, so I made a plan. I wasn't going to yell or scream or show up with cops. No, I was going to hit them where it hurt. I started small. I opened a new Facebook account under a different name and joined every MLM awareness group I could find. I started posting screenshots of Brooke's claims, how she adverts unregulated supplements as cures for children's ADHD, how she posted medical advice without a license. Then I contacted the local Better Business Bureau, sent them proof, sent them her posts, sent them her upline's name too. I even mailed a few anonymous packages to some of her clients, pointing out the scam. They were caught in her online store. Ratings started to drop then. I took it further. I pulled Matt's name into it, not out of malice, but because he needed to be shaken awake. I emailed his HR department at the tech firm where Hugh works. Nothing dramatic. Just a tip that he was involved via his home address and accounts with an unlicensed health product distributor facing multiple complaints. That got their attention. A week later, Brooke's shop went private. Her posts disappeared, and Matt, I heard through a friend's son who works in IT at his company, that he was placed on a compliance watch. Still no call from them, so I kept going because if they thought slamming a door would make me disappear, they really didn't know me. It was about 6 weeks after the incident on Thepert when the first real crack appeared. A letter came in the mail, not a card or apology, but an envelope addressed in Matt's handwriting. Inside was a single piece of paper with barely a sentence. "Please stop. You're going to ruin everything." That was it. No greeting. No ma'am, no explanation, just a warning, like I was some stranger causing trouble. He didn't even sign it. I sat at the kitchen table for an hour, just staring at it. That one line told me 2 things. 1, they knew I was behind what was happening, and 2, they were scared, but they still hadn't picked up the phone. I almost stopped right then, thought maybe I'd gone too far, but then 2 nights later, I got a call, unknown number. I usually let those go to voicemail, but something told me to answer. "Hi, is this Ellen?" A soft voice asked. "Yes." "Who is this?" "This is Tara. I used to be part of Brooke's Vital Essence team." At first, I didn't say anything. She must have gotten my number through one of the groups or messages I posted anonymously. Then she said something that made my blood run cold. She told us you were mentally unstable, that you stalked her, that your son had a restraining order against you. I couldn't even breathe. Tara kept talking. I left the group last month after I realized it was all fake. I just wanted you to know, Brooke said horrible things about you in the private chats. Maid, you sound dangerous. I believed her. I feel sick about it now. She sent me screenshots, and there it was, Brooke posting pictures of my Facebook messages from years ago, twisting them to make me look obsessive, calling me a toxic narcissist, telling her team Thatch was cutting out negative energy, even family, she even claimed. I stole from her once when I visited 2 years ago, and worst of all, someone in the chat, someone I didn't recognize, asked if she'd ever consider letting the kids see me. Again, Brooke wrote back over my dead body. That line burned, so now it wasn't just that she'd turned my son against me. It was that she was making sure my grandchildren never knew. The truth never heard. My side never even got the chance to love me. I knew what I had to do. I started keeping a detailed record, everything from the past 5 years, every message I'd sent, every voicemail I'd left. I printed photos of gifts I'd mailed and made a timeline. I contacted a family law attorney, not to sue them, but to ask about grandparent visitation rights in Nebraska. The attorney was kind, but honest. It's a tough road, she said, unless there's proof of harm to the kids, or a death or a divorce. The court usually sides with the parents, but then she asked, is there any reason to believe your grandchildren are being emotionally neglected or manipulated? And that's when I realized I had been looking at this all wrong. This wasn't just about me being cast out. Brooke wasn't just cold. She was calculated, controlling, maybe even abusive. I wasn't the only one she'd cut off, she'd pushed away. Every one of Matt's old friends, she'd barely let the kids see Matt's side of the family. And I started to wonder if Matt was so scared. Maybe it wasn't just guilt. Maybe it was something worse. That same week, I got another anonymous tip. A woman named Colleen emailed me someone who'd gone to high school with Brooke and followed her on Instagram, she said. Brooke had started hinting at moving the family somewhere new to escape negativity and had posted vague threats about taking control of her peace, Colleen wrote. She's talking like she's about to cut ties with everyone who questions her. You should know what she's planning. I had no way to confirm it, but my gut told me it was true. Brooke was preparing to move, maybe out of state, maybe with the kids, and maybe without Matt. And that's when it became about more than revenge. That's when I knew I wasn't just fighting to be heard anymore. I was fighting to save my son. I moved fast after that. First thing I did was meet with the attorney again this time. I brought everything, screenshots, emails, the letter from Matt, and the messages from those former MLM members. The attorney looked over the evidence, her expression tight. This paints a picture of alienation. She said, not enough for court yet, but it's something. Then I did something I never thought I'd do. I called Matt's best friend from high school, Derek. They hadn't spoken in years, ever since Brooke shut down the old group of friends, but Derek answered on the second ring. Ellen, wow, it's been a long time. I told him what was happening carefully, with just enough detail. I didn't beg. I just asked him as someone who used to care about my son to check on him. 3 days later, Derek showed up at Matt's house. They had not seen each other in nearly 5 years. Matt opened the door, looking like hell. Derek didn't tell me everything, but he did tell me this. Matt broke down, told him Brooke had taken over their finances, ran up over $40,000 in credit card debt under his name, and was talking about starting fresh in Texas where her sister lived. He said Brooke had already spoken to a lawyer about relocating for business opportunities, and Matt, he felt trapped, like if he fought back, he'd lose the kids, so he did nothing until Derek handed him a folder. My folder, the one I'd sent with all the evidence, my messages, my receipts, the screenshots from her MLM team, the Better Business Bureau. Complaints, the threats she posted online. Matt read every page, and something finally broke through. A week later, I got a call, it was him. His voice was cracked. "Small mom," he said. "I am sorry he didn't cry." "I did," he said. He hadn't known how bad it had gotten, said he believed. Brooke, when she told him I hated her, that I was manipulative, that I never wanted to be involved. "I see it now," he said. All of IT should have stopped her. We talked for over 2 hours. He told me he had already spoken to a lawyer. He was filing for legal separation. He had opened a new bank account and locked down his credit, and he was going to fight for shared custody. He asked if I'd be willing to give a statement to support him, especially about the way Brooke isolated the kids from me and the rest of his family. I said yes. Brooke didn't take it well once she was served. She blew up online, posted one last story calling me poison and claiming that was being manipulated by his abuser mother, but this time, no one bought it. The vital Essence community turned on her. A few of the women who'd once idolized her publicly distanced themselves, and then came the kicker. Matt's lawyer uncovered that Brooke had been skimming money from a community fundraising group she organized online, promised the funds were for a local family whose home had burned down. Turns out, less than half of the donations were ever passed along. The rest disappeared into her business accounts. Matt didn't just file for custody, he reported the fraud. The investigation is still ongoing, but the news got out. The local PDA removed her sponsors, pulled out her business, dried up, and those luxury dinners gone. Matt moved into a small apartment nearby, and the kids started spending weekends with him. The first time I saw them, Liam and Claire, they didn't recognize me at first. Claire hid behind Matt. Liam asked if I was the mean grandma Brooke warned them about. I swallowed the lump in my throat, got down on my knees, and said, "I'm just someone who's loved you from the very beginning. Now they come over every Sunday. It's slow, there's damage. Years of it, but we're healing." And Brooke, she lost her image, her followers, her funding. Last I heard, she was living with her sister in Houston, trying to rebrand. She filed for bankruptcy. She posts vague stories about battling betrayal and starting over. She never apologized. But I don't need her to, because I got my family back. Not all of it, not perfectly, but enough to know I wasn't crazy. I wasn't unwanted. I wasn't wrong to fight. They tried to erase me, but I'm still here, and I'll never be silent.